welcome to Parenting versus Podcast.
That was a kid-riddled intro. Yes. I don't know if you could hear the background of our kids yelling from a trampoline.
Mm-hmm. And also our intro to having music on our podcast, thanks to my good buddy Jeff Omidveron.
Yeah, I like Jeff's music. He's a talented dude.
Yeah, find his music on SoundCloud. Jeff Omidveron, just how it sounds, Omidveron.
Oh wow, is this like a... I feel like I'm in a high school English class.
Omidvarin. And then Jeff, Jeff.
Yeah, well, in case you missed that. Yeah, Jeff's a cool dude. We've known him for a while. He lives in LA. He is a musician. And he was nice enough to let us sample some of his music for the beginning. So thanks, Jeff.
Yep. And that song was called Ashes, and I know the backstory, but I'm not going to talk about it in respect for Jeff.
Well, that's kind of ominous, but...
But yeah, it's a kind of a crazy morning with kids. So fair warning, we are probably going to be interrupted. We're probably not going to have coherent sentences or thoughts.
Well, so let me just preface this morning with... so we started out with a 5-year-old in our bed. We woke up and he was sprawled out like a giant gorilla all over the place, thrashing and...
A tiny giant gorilla.
Yeah, something like that. A tiny giant gorilla?
A tiny giant gorilla.
Okay. So we had a 5-year-old in our bed, and then we have our 2-year-old who decided that he was going to figure out how to get up to our coffee pot on the counter. He grabbed the carafe. He drunken sailorly, I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm just going to pretend like it is.
Sure.
Grabbed the carafe, and I caught him just in time before he dropped it all over the kitchen floor. Thankfully, he did not burn himself, but our coffee carafe is no more.
Nope.
So we've had to fight for our coffee this morning. Here we go.
Oh.
So we had to bust out the French press this morning, and we're going to be saying rest in peace to our coffee maker, thanks to our 2-year-old. And here we go. Now it's chaos. And then, we went to get them some cereal, and there are kicks all over our kitchen floor, which is, pretty typical. We tried to get our dogs to eat them, but our dogs won't even eat them. So I don't know what's in kicks that our dogs won't even eat them, but they are all over our kitchen floor. So that's the kind of morning we've been having.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And now our 1-year-old's going nuts for some strange reason.
Because she's 1.
Well, she was fine until we started.
Yeah. This might be our shortest podcast yet.
Oh. I could use some rum in this coffee. Maybe some whiskey even.
Dear Lord.
Seriously, that's where I'm at this morning. I can't even.
I don't think I'm there.
Oh, I might be.
Yeah.
So we are also about to go into some serious transition in our life, and we've been applying for jobs. Oh my goodness. Maybe we should just talk about something stupid,
I don't know.
The color blue, because it's simple and it doesn't take a lot of thought.
Yeah, I don't know who would listen to that though, except for us, I guess.
Yeah.
I think when people listen, they're either laughing at us because we're going through this, or they're like, man, this stresses me out. What other podcasts are there?
I feel like if you don't have kids and you're listening to this is a really good indicator of what having 3 kids is like on any given day. If you do have kids, I'm sure you can relate in some way. This is what 3 sounds like, and we have 2 that are really close together in age, so this is kind of what it's like.
Yeah.
That's our 1-year-old.
So all of our kids are surrounding us and just kind of looking at us
like vultures.
And my thought is, if you're kind of out of sight, you're out of mind, and they occupy themselves, and then they play with different toys and stuff. So.
And I'm just gonna go ahead and take a diaper break because my 1-year-old decided that now's a good time for that.
So we are gonna take a short break. I'm gonna pause this. You are not going to notice a pause because, it'll pick it right up. But I'm just going to pause it for a few minutes. And we're back. A little frazzled from finding our kids things to do. And, not just for this recording, but, it's just life.
I'm a little bit irate, to be honest.
So people like to, give their best face forward, especially on like social media and stuff. And we talked with our friends about making a hashtag called #ThisIsRealLife or #RealLife.
I think we brought this up on the podcast once before.
Yeah, where we take a picture of something, that
not so glorious.
Yeah, not so glorious, like a smiling, cute little baby, which we have.
Like a blowout.
Yeah, like a blowout diaper or
kicks on the floor.
Or our kid covered in lip stain.
Yeah, my 2-year-old found my lip stain.
Something like that. Something that's just body. Like, you're like, what the heck?
He looked like he was going to Woodstock.
Yeah. He looked like Luke Steele from
Empire of the Sun.
He just needed a blue feather or something.
Bohemian, like club-going or festival-going 2-year-old. Like that.
But this was real life. That was, I think, 10-15 minutes that passed.
My gosh, it felt like an eternity. Sorry. I'm still, I'm trying to come down from that, angry parent high of, trying to get my shit together and be calm when really all I want to do is, go punch something because I'm so annoyed.
Right.
I'll be honest with you. That's where I'm at right now.
It's cool. Well, speaking of toddlers, I think we have one as a president. I'm sorry. I don't like to go on talking about politics on Twitter or social media or whatever, but
he makes it so easy.
30 minutes ago, he posted a tweet. I just heard a door slam. I hope everything's okay. Do you hear crying?
Nope.
Okay, cool.
I heard a door opening.
We're in a child-proof part of our house, so
they're on child lockdown.
They're
in their bedrooms.
They're not in prison. We're not terrible people, but
no, they're just in a child-proof.
They are occupying themselves. Luke's playing with Legos, and Riley's just doing whatever Luke's doing.
Yeah, which is great.
And we can hear them, but
so let me just. So Lorenzo was in the kitchen earlier today, and I'm outside with the kids, and I hear this moan of disdain come from Lorenzo, and it's ah! And I thought maybe he hurt himself or something was wrong. I don't know. I didn't know what I thought. I just was what was that? I
think it was more of just oh my gosh, like that.
Yeah, kind of. It was just a noise that was complete and utter annoyance and puzzlement.
Kids found us.
We need to find a better hiding place.
They discovered us. They're like the Indominus Rex camouflaging, and then they come and they see us. And
I feel like if we stay really still, maybe they'll go away.
Okay, what's up?
You guys are hurting my feelings.
Oh, well, what's up? Why are you feeling, sir? Talk to me.
We're not trying to hurt your feelings. We just need you to entertain yourself for a little bit and play with all the toys that you have.
No, I just don't have. No, I just need 2 more claw pieces for my pterodactyl, and I can't find it.
Can you skip the claw pieces and then we'll look around for them?
Can you build the rest of it and then we'll help you find the claws in just a few minutes?
I'll show you what they look like.
I know what they look like. I helped you. Mom knows what they look like too. I showed her a picture.
I invented pterodactyl claws.
Okay.
Lego one.
Oh.
She knows what they look like. I showed her a picture. Just do it without the claws.
Hey Riley, get down.
Do it without the claws. Do it without the claws, and then I'll help you in a second, okay?
Pterodactyl claws are supposed to be like this, and they're not like that.
Well, we'll look for them. You just got to build the rest of it, okay?
Our 2-year-old's standing on his play lawnmower, trying to hoist himself into the pack and play. This is new. Huh.
Maybe. So I'm gonna get Luke started on some Legos.
All right.
If you wanna.
So, by the way, our 2-year-old also yesterday, we were at a barbecue at my parents' house, and he takes a nap sometimes at their house, and we put him in the pack and play to take a nap, and then about an hour and a half later, my mom went into the kitchen, and there he was by himself, trying to get at brownies and cupcakes and dessert and stuff. And she's like, Riley, how did you get out of the pack and play? And we still don't know. We don't know how he got out. He's never done that before. So he managed to Houdini himself out of a pack and play yesterday, and come downstairs and get into dessert without any adult assistance, which is terrifying to me. because I don't know what else he can do without adult assistance, but apparently he's got some MacGyver moves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2-year-old is crazy.
Yeah.
And we love him.
We do, but he's just a lot.
So I don't mean to like just disclaimer every time after we complain about our kids that I love them, because that goes without saying. But I also don't want to complain about my kids all the time.
Well, I don't think it's complaining. I sort of feel like it's venting a little bit, and I think it's healthy. Parents need an outlet too, and this is ours. So.
Okay.
All right.
But yeah, back to politics. Oh dear Lord.
You're gonna get me started with Legos.
I'm going to be a really terrible parent. Do you want to play some computer games? Would you like to do that?
Well,
You would? Okay, let me get you started on that. Go ahead and continue what you're saying. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. So, politics. I typically don't like to talk about politics on social media or on Twitter or Facebook or even like with people, because it's a very polarizing, by nature, it's a very polarizing topic. So it's one of those things that you start talking about, and if you agree with each other, then it's like a verbal little tickle party, just tickling each other with words. If you are a Trump supporter and you start talking with another Trump supporter, you just start talking about how Trump's making America great again, or if you are, or how, whatever, you pick it. Or if you are on the liberal side of things, you start talking about how awesome Bernie is, and how a little bird came on his podium when he was talking at the rally in Portland. You start tickling each other with words. But then, if you are on the opposite ends of things, and then you start talking, you start to get sweaty, and you start to get angry, and then your heart rate starts to increase, and you start to think of this person not as a person, but as an enemy that you need to overcome. So you're not really tickling each other with words. You're more going to start to throw blows, right? And part of you is like, man, I need to be civil. I need to just keep my mouth shut. Maybe I just won't talk. I'll just let them talk, and I'll just, think what I think as they're talking. And that's usually what happens. If you really are, adamant about your beliefs, you think on these things. Like, for example, if you have a liberal who spends a lot of time on the news and has a very strong bias, and then you have a conservative on the other end who spends a lot of time watching their news and has a really strong bias, and then they get together and they're in a discussion, you can definitely, that's a chemical explosion right there, ready to happen. So politics is definitely tricky. I typically don't like to talk about it, but this is something that definitely, got my attention this morning. So about 30 minutes, as Lindsay was talking, I verbally, moaned, I guess, as she described it. But I follow Donald Trump because I think it's important on Twitter. I follow what he's saying. Just, it's important to see what's happening.
Well, on this 4th of July weekend, may I say that it might be just like your duty as an American?
Yeah, I think it might be my duty.
Well, I think even if you don't agree with what the president is saying, you have an accountability, or you have a need to hold leadership and accountability and keep track of what they're saying.
Yeah.
Because they are still running your country, whether they're doing a good job or not.
Right. So here's what I witnessed. I opened up my Twitter because that's what I do. I look at Twitter a lot. And the first thing I see on my feed is Donald Trump. And I want to read what I can't remember what it said about something about, it's like hashtag fake news, all caps, and then he tagged CNN at CNN, whatever. And then there's a video of Donald Trump, when he made an appearance on the WWF or WWE, whatever it is now, he tackled Vince McMahon, the CEO or owner, operator, whatever of WWE. But instead of Vince McMahon's face, it was like a little avatar, little symbol of CNN covered over CNN's face, and it was Donald Trump tackling him and like doing wrestling moves. So the first thing that comes to mind is I'm like, is this guy serious? Did I just watch something? Did I accidentally click on somebody else's Twitter?
Is this a spoof? Is this a joke?
Well, no, I thought, did I accidentally click on somebody else's, not the President of the United States of America's Twitter? Did I accidentally click on somebody else's Twitter? And am I watching this? Because this is what I would expect from, some random, person, not the President of the United States.
Well, I don't know if anybody's ever seen Idiocracy, like Lorenzo and I. That's one of our favorite movies of all time. It's so dumb, but it's so
true.
funny. But it's
almost like not funny anymore. You're like, oh crap,
Yeah,
this is prophecy.
we're probably gonna have to rewatch it now because literally, like in the movie Idiocracy, it's like set in the future, and the president is also like this like.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to explain it, but he's like a wrestler. Like he does like monster cars.
He shoots guns. He flips people's. He flips people off. He wears like an American shirt with cut off sleeves, and
he has a parade where he shoots giant guns and is like it's just bravado and just
his
ridiculousness.
What are those? I think they're called trikes. They like put a Chevy 350 motor on like a frame, like a motorcycle frame, and they put big tires on it.
It's ridiculous,
but yeah,
it's also very scarily accurate.
I saw this tweet this morning. I'm like, this guy, he's not taking this seriously anymore. This is a joke to him.
Yeah, our country is a huge joke. Our country's livelihood is the equivalent of a fake WWF wrestling match. Like, that scares me, and it should scare you too. And I'm sorry, like, my opinion doesn't matter, to anybody, and you can take it or leave it, but this should bother you. This is a sign of huge A, arrogance, and B, immaturity. And when those two things are in tandem with each other, that is very dangerous.
Here's what I see. I see a man who has as much money as he would ever want in as many lifetimes as he would ever want, who can't get any more money, or maybe you can, but it doesn't really matter. Once you get a certain amount of money, it doesn't really matter how much more money you have.
Spend it in his lifetime anyway.
So. But once you're out of opportunities to make more money, what do you have? More power and more admiration. Like this guy is just he wants people to admire him. He wants people to respect him really badly.
The sad thing is it just looks really pathetic.
It does. And he's also in his 70s, so he probably realizes like, hey, maybe time's running out. Like, screw it. I'm just going to do whatever. I'm the president of the United States. I have accomplished everything.
It's like, are you bored? Like, are you bored with being the president of the United States? Is that like, you can check that off your bucket list now?
Yeah.
And you're bored of it, so you're trying to like find ways to entertain yourself? I'm just at this like loss. I don't even know. I can't even like relate to where he might be coming from at all. I don't think anybody can.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty ridiculous and pretty sad. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Idiocracy. Check it out. I think it's a Mike Judge film.
There's definitely some vulgarity in there, so don't watch it around your kids.
Yeah. And me and Lindsay have a weird sense of humor, so we love it. But if your idea of a good comedy is like You've Got Mail.
Is that a comedy? I don't even know.
I don't know. I never watched it.
It's got a little vulgarity. It's definitely not gonna be like a family friendly, wholesome movie, but it does make some good points. I will say that.
Mm-hmm.
And it has Owen Wilson in it. I love that man.
And the SNL girl. What's her name? Woman. Sorry.
Oh, gosh. Maya Rudolph.
I was gonna say Maya Angelou. No, that's not.
No, that's not it. Maya Rudolph. Yeah, no, it's a great movie. If you can laugh and you have a quirky sense of humor, think like, I don't even know why I'm explaining this because this is a terrible parallel, but like Hot Tub Time Machine, maybe a little less vulgar than that.
That was a bad movie.
No, it was a pretty bad movie, but it's that kind of humor, and I think it would be a lot funnier if it wasn't so like semi-accurate at this point in history.
Yeah.
But anyway, check it out if you dare.
So that's the state of our country right now, and that was what was going through my head this morning.
Yeah.
Anyway, what else was on your mind?
What else is on my mind? So many things. So we're applying for jobs. We're getting ready to try and make a big transition. And it's been tough, but it's just funny because last night I caught myself writing a cover letter and I was like, man, I feel like people, like hiring managers, they must get so many cover letters that say the same exact thing. And there's like these keywords, like a lot of hiring managers don't even read cover letters anymore. They go through, it's a keyword search. And so what'll happen is the database will search all the keywords in every applicant's resume and cover letter. And the ones that have the most hits, those are the ones they look at.
Yeah.
So it was just interesting because I was like, and this job that I was applying for is for it's like a job developer / job coach job with youth. And I've done that before at Goodwill. I worked at Goodwill Industries and I was a job developer. And so I'm familiar with what you have to do and everything. But it was just funny because I was like, you know what? I'm just going to write a cover letter and I'm going to try to make this person laugh. And I'm going to try to like make it not the typical cover letter that they read all the time. I don't even know if it'll get read.
Do they narrow down the cover letters by keyword search, and then those ones they will go through and read each one?
Some do. It just depends on who. But yeah, there's some companies like that use giant databases where it will, when you submit it, it'll do a keyword scan, and then it's like the words that match certain topics for the job posting. Those are the ones that have the most hits. Those are the ones that get in like the top 10 or 20, and then they'll read those.
Well, it's good to know.
So then they'll read your cover letter.
Right. It's good to understand how our brains work a little bit.
Yeah.
Like if you think about anything you want to communicate, whether it be a...
It's basically like search engine optimization.
Our dog is freaking out. But anything you want to communicate...
There's probably somebody on a bike.
Yeah, or people walking their dogs. Anyway, anything you want to communicate, whether it be a song or a lesson if you're a teacher, or a lecture if you are somebody who does lectures, whatever, it has to have a hook. Or a podcast has to have a hook. We have no hook. We have a, whatever the opposite of the hook is, kids crying.
Uncontrolled chaos.
Uncontrolled chaos. Well, chaos is by itself uncontrolled.
Yes, anyway.
Has to have a hook, and then once you have the hook in, you have to keep their attention.
Right.
So I think a cover letter should probably have a hook, I would guess.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it was just funny because I was like, I don't even know that this is going to get read. Although I have to say, like, I had emailed them like a week ago and I said, you know, I noticed the qualifications and I meet most of them. There's like a few that I don't have in title, but I have in experience. Can I still apply, or should I still apply? Because I don't want to waste your time and I don't want to give you one more resume to read if it's irrelevant. And they sent me some like generic email back that was like, thank you, applicant, for applying. And I was like, okay, that's not at all what I asked. And so I don't even know that my email got read. And then like 2 days later, I get this email from the same HR email. And they're like, we're so sorry. We sent you the wrong email and we're so sorry. Yes, please apply. And I was just laughing because I was like, they are probably so tired of getting the same dumb emails too. And so that's why I was like, okay, so I know there's a real person behind that email address. I don't know who they are. But now I know that when I write my cover letter, it's going to reach a real person. So yeah. So that's why I made it a little more creative than I probably would normally, because I know that they're bored. I can tell that they're bored. I can tell that it's routine for them. So I wanted to make them laugh. So we'll see what happens. I don't know.
I would like to pull some data, like some just pure numbers of like people, how many applications and resumes and cover letters people send out for every job they get, for every job offer they get. Like what would be those statistics?
Like the average amount of resumes somebody sends out.
Right. Based on experience, like if you have a certain amount of years of experience and no college degree, or if you have a college degree, a certain amount of years of experience, like what are those numbers? I would love to pull those, and then like per city or nationwide, like that. I'm sure that'd be pretty interesting.
It would be dependent on a few things, and I can just tell you this from experience as a job developer. Like here in New Mexico, there are certain benchmarks people want you to meet because we have a lot more jobs that are, is it blue collar? Is that what I'm thinking of? Like food service and things like that. So there's certain benchmarks that here in New Mexico people are expected to meet. They hold the standards. They're pretty solid. So in a place like New Mexico here, like they want people that meet just minimum benchmarks, and they don't really tend to budge because there's a lot of blue collar jobs. So they want to make sure you're qualified. They want to make sure that you meet these certain basic benchmarks. Places that are bigger tend to be a little more lenient on those things. because they realize that experience is not always synonymous with like a paper degree. And there's more opportunity, I think, too, in bigger cities and stuff, because the range of jobs is more. It's not just blue collar. I mean, you can go from blue collar to white collar to, everywhere in between, and you can always have a lot more experience. So that was why I sent that email asking, like, because I don't have a degree, but I do have the experience of a degreed person.
Yeah.
So I said, I don't have a degree, but I have X amount of years of experience. Like, what do you think? And they said, yeah, please apply. So they're more lenient.
And this whole job hunt and stuff, I'm realizing how much pressure we have as parents, because we're not only trying to, and you're not only trying to do this for yourself, but this is for your family. And it's a big deal, like as a parent, as a person, like finding a good job that you want to be able to provide for your family. You want to support your family. You want to be able to, enjoy yourself at work. And these are as parents, like these are some things that are just very, very hard to deal with, right?
Yeah, and I think that, again, like I noticed working at Goodwill with different generations doing job searches, millennials and Gen Xers tend to go about job searches almost backwards from like baby boomers and older generations like our parents. We tend to, as younger generations...
Well, who's hiring? Are the baby boomers hiring, or are the Gen Xers hiring?
It's mostly Gen Xers now. A lot of the baby boomers are retiring, and that's great, but it also puts people like our parents' age in a weird spot, because they are at the same company for a long time, and there's somebody who's like half their age that's coming in and running the company and running things. They're bringing in their own people. They want a bunch of different technical skills that maybe people in our parents' generation don't have. Or
well, I'm glad I'm not a baby boomer then. I did learn from baby boomers, so I hope I'm not like doing their things.
But that's the thing, like
if you're a baby boomer, hopefully you're retiring by now. But
it's hard for people that are before Generation X to go out and search for a job, because...
But why is it so hard for us then?
Well, I'm getting there.
Okay.
So when they go out and search, they're not used to going and doing online applications. To them, that seems impersonal. It's against everything they were taught about job hunting. Like when our parents went to go find a job, you go fill out an application and you call and check on that application. Then you go meet the manager and say, hey, I'm interested in this job. It's face to face.
That's kind of like what the advice my dad would give me is you go in person, fill out a paper application, you ask for the manager, shake hands, you have a first impression right away. And then you follow up in person.
Well, and that's what our parents were taught, and that's what our grandparents were taught. And honestly, with Gen Xers and millennials, it's completely flipped. People now, because of the internet and technology and online applications, you going in and seeing them in person is almost bothering them. It's not looked on as a good thing. It's almost looked on as an annoyance. Right. Because all of the things that you used to have to do to set yourself apart, you are supposed to do digitally now. People don't have time to sit there and meet with you and go over it. And that's the thing I noticed when I was a job developer. A lot of these older generations would say, well, I called this job and they just told me to go online and do the application. And you run into that a lot. And our generation is like, okay, yeah, no big deal. Like, I'll do that. But when it's older generations, that's really discouraging for them and intimidating, because they've never done an online application, And so for our generation, it's a little backwards. We tend to decide what lifestyle we want, go get settled, and then go find a job. Because I've noticed that Gen Xers and millennials that are hiring tend to want to hire you when you're already in a certain area. They don't want to waste time with waiting for you to get set up or organized. They want to know that you're there and you're ready to go. So I found that a lot of people that I know that have moved places, like new cities and things like that, they move first, they take a little bit of their money, they get settled, and then they go find a job. And it's actually easier for them to find a job when they're already in that community. I'm not sure exactly why that is, but it seems to be a trend. Like if I wanted to move to LA, I would go out to LA, I would find a place to live, then I would start my job hunt. And it seems irresponsible. I get that. It does. But the way the job market goes and the way people hire now, it's actually not that irresponsible. It's kind of the way the world is leaning. So yeah, I'm putting in some applications. We are trying to move to a different city right now, and our house goes up for sale this week on Friday, so that's kind of crazy, but we'll see what happens. I mean, if we don't get jobs, then we don't get jobs and we don't go. But we are hoping that our house will sell, and we're hoping that we get that opportunity. But I would not be surprised if our house sold and we still didn't have jobs, and then we end up getting jobs when we're actually out there. So
I think he just wants you to hold him.
Okay.
He sat in water.
He sat in water.
Yeah.
From where?
The pool.
Oh, okay.
So what were you talking about baby boomers for?
Well, I was just thinking about
Mama, pass.
our
Mama, pass.
We don't have a pass, bro.
there's one in the silverware drawer.
Yeah. Well,
This guy might be ready for a nap.
this might be time for us to wrap up
Hold on,
anyway.
pause it.
You want to pause it?
Just pause it for a second. How much time do we have? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, yeah. Maybe we should. It's been 30 minutes and this kid is cranky.
Yeah,
Right.
it's time for us to parent.
It's time for us to parent. Yeah, that's true. So anyway, to be continued, I guess. More on this later.
Yeah. But anyway, you guys have a good Sunday, and we'll talk to you in the next one.
Enjoy your nap time.